A disclaimer? Seriously? Of course. This is YouTube. Why wouldn't there be? There should be, and there needs to be. So here it is. Okay, this video is going to pertain to everything that I've experienced and everything that I can tell you about doing leaves. Leaf cleanup, the fall season. It in no way signifies that this is what you have to do. It in no way signifies that my way is the only way. I'm just giving you my experience and my input on everything that I can share with you about doing leaves and about different ways to use different types of blades. And what has worked the best for me over the years, things I've learned, things I found out the hard way, cover different things that I've tried as far as baggers, blowers, blades, different types of machines, and everything in general. So you're just going to see a whole ton of different clips that I've pulled from all the way back to 2014. Some of it's a little shaky because of cameras I used back then, but from 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, and everything that I've used this year, 2019. So you're going to see a wide range of different clips, and I'm just going to talk to you about it and my input and what I feel has revolutionized, so to speak, in my business over the years and where I'm at now and what I think has really taught me a lot of lessons. Okay, before we get into this, we're just going to cover blades real quick because I really don't have any footage of that to show you guys. Plain and simple, let me just throw this out there. Mulching blades are made for mulching grass and mulching leaves. That's it. They're not designed for bagging grass or leaves. They're not designed for running on any bagging system, whether you're running an actual bagging mower, like the Skag with the clamshell, which you'll see in this video, or like the Walker, even though I run the Versamo blades, and that's different because you still have the other blades on there. But also for the multiple mowers, I'm going to show you with grass catchers on there, and also with the grass catchers and then the homemade baggers that go off the grass catcher. Mulching blades are made for mulching. They do a horrible job. I don't know how many people have commented on my videos and said, how do you run these grass catchers? Mine bags like crap. You know, I mulch up leaves and then I throw the grass catcher on there to bag, and I got to go over it a couple times because it just doesn't pick them up. It's not going to. You have to run at least a medium lift, preferably a high lift, if you're bagging leaves. You're going to fill your grass catcher, hopper, bags, whatever. You're going to fill them up faster because you're not breaking it down before you bag them in. But if you want the ultimate vacuum, the ultimate suction for bagging up leaves, you have to run a medium to a high lift blade. You're never going to get it with G6, G5, any type of gator blade, any type of mulching blade. You're just never going to get that ultimate vacuum when you're running those. So you'll see all different kinds of setups in this video, but I just want to throw that out there before we get started. Now we're going to cover a lot of different things in this video, but we'll just throw this in here with blowers right off the bat. If you ever have a chance to buy or purchase or demo or anything a stand-on blower, I would say you will never regret it. Is it the best way to go? I don't really know what I can tell you on that. I did a full video on my called the Ferris FB3000 blower final thoughts, I believe it was called. Watch that, you'll get my full opinion of this. But if you have massive leaves to move and woods to put them in, or you can pile them at the road or whatever, you will never go wrong using this blower. It is a great way to go, and you can do a lot of big properties really fast. You can knock out a ton of stuff just very, very easily and very quickly using this blower. But it's just one way to go, and any of my properties I've used it on, I can have and still will do them other ways without having this blower. But having this option is definitely one way to go to move massive amounts of leaves. Now, you guys have seen the videos that I've done where I've done the homemade leaf bag, which I have right here. This was back when I owned the Skag Freedom Z. You will see me run it on this, and you will see me run it on a stander like the Great Dane. If you only have a grass catcher and you cannot afford a full bagging system for your commercial mower, which at the time I could not when I designed this and started running these, I couldn't afford an actual full bagger system. They range from like $2,500 to $4,000. I guess they can go higher for an actual commercial mower. So if you can't afford that investment, this is one way to go, because any grass catcher, whether it's a steel grass catcher, pack 'em, rack 'em, or an aluminum one like Accelerator, you guys know I run nothing but. If you're going to run a grass catcher, I suggest nothing but an aluminum Accelerator, and the biggest one you can get, which is a 6.2. But I've owned many of them, and this is one right here. But if that's all you can afford, you can't afford to put a full bagging system, you can still get a lot of leaves without stopping constantly to dump them just by running one of these. They're super cheap, easy to make, and they're durable. They hold up pretty damn well. And I have also made videos on how to make this out of like $30 in supplies from Harbor Freight, so that you can pick up massive amounts of leaves. Like, look at all the leaves there. I'd have dumped that Accelerator 100 times on there, but here I am running it on the Great Dane, the Stander. You can pretty much put on anything. I've used it on walk behinds with grass catchers. I've used it on sit down zero turns like you just saw, and I've used it on standers like you're seeing right here. So that is another way to go when it comes to bagging leaves. If you have a lot of leaves and you don't want to waste the time stopping every other pass to dump out a grass catcher, which fills up way too fast. And again, this is where those blades are very important. Now here's some really old footage. This was Max back when I owned the Exmark Laser Z, and this was called the Terra King, and these are about $65-$70. They make one called the Big Green Leaf Bag or something, which are over $100. I think they're almost $200. But these ones were like $65-$70, and this is what gave me the idea to make the one out of tarps to run off grass catchers. You simply pull the bags out of your regular bagging system and put this over top, and it has drawstring. So let's get into mulching. This is where mulching blades definitely come in, make a big difference. When you have massive amounts of leaves, I've learned over the years that mulching them up before you start bagging is the way to go, especially if you have to haul them away. I literally reduced the amount of leaves on this property by more than half. We are lucky we had a spot across the street where we could dump in the woods with these leaves, so it definitely made it nice. But when you're sitting there and you have a ton of leaves to haul away, or it's just going to take a long time to bag up a lot of leaves, mulching them first is the way to go. Reduce the amount by a great deal of what you have to bag up, what you have to haul away, or what you have to just blow off to the woods or whatever. You're cutting your time in half, and you're cutting the volume by half at least just by mulching. At the same time, when you go to bag, you're only picking up the residual. You're picking up the bulk that's left. So a lot of that is staying in the grass to naturally break down and to help fertilize that lawn. Whenever you can mulch, in many properties, if I can get away with just mulching and not bagging anything, then I do, because it's great and healthy for the lawn. Like this one right here, I believe I double cut this lawn back when I did this one. I still do this property. You've seen a lot of video on it, but at this point, I believe I just double cut it, and I was in and out of there, didn't have to bag anything, didn't have to haul anything away, and it's a lot healthier for the lawn. So mulching them up works great in this scenario, but I see on a lot of guys' videos, they will mulch up massive amounts of leaves, and it just turns into a thick paste, and it will kill the grass. It is horrible for the grass. A lot of people preach on, don't bag them, just mulch them. And mulching is great, and you can get away with it a lot, like I mentioned, but you have to be smart about it, and you have to know when you're doing more damage to your customer's property than you're doing good. So like this case right here, it darn near looks pretty damn good just from going over it one time. And what I did is I believe the second time around, I just went the opposite direction and mowed it one more time and mulched them up the rest of the way, and away it went. But smaller properties like this one here, where I had to just haul them away, and I couldn't I couldn't have any other bagging system that I could run on a property. I mean, it's small, and when you run that big bagging system, sometimes it just becomes cumbersome if it's a real small property. But on this property here, there wasn't a lot of leaves, so I had no need for putting the homemade tarp bag on there, and I just ran the Accelerator. But running that 6.2 Accelerator off this deck, I believe this mower was a 48 when I had it. This was the Skag Freedom Z. What a great mower this thing was.
but it would mulch leaves like there was no tomorrow. It left a phenomenal cut, and throwing this accelerator on, it did a really good job. So it was always another way to go. Orion bought this leaf plow years ago. You can see the walker in the corner there. You know, once I got to the point where I was able to upgrade and I could afford a full bagging mower, the walker still is hands down for me. It's the best way to go. I can fit the most in it. It's just massive, and the way it mulches it up. And then what I've gone to with the Versamo blades, so I have X blades on this walker. It's a combination of mulching blades, but it still has the medium lift blades on there, and with the turbine I still get great vacuum, and it does a really good job. But I can bag massive amounts of leaves with that. That is still my number one hands down way to go. I still use the homemade bagger sometimes on an accelerator off one of the standards, but hands down that's my way to go. So Ryan and I we started years ago. We used to just push leaves up on the trailer, or we would bag them and dump them on the trailer and then blow them off. It sounds like a lot of work, but it has come to be the fastest way on the properties where we have massive amounts of leaves like this. We have used the Little Wonder truck loader or trailer loader, which you will see that we have mounted on the back of a machine or on the back of the trailer and backed them up. That works really well, but it takes a lot longer. We can actually get them done a lot faster by pushing them up on like this with the plow, or by bagging them with the Tiger Cat and the walker, for instance, dumping them on the trailer and then going and blowing them off at our dump site where we're allowed to dump. So that's another way to get leaves off a property, and it has worked for us. It has been a huge time saver for us versus using the vac system on the back of the trailer, which Ryan has since sold. It just hasn't worked for us. So, you know, like for instance, here we are blowing them off. We just pull up in this field and we can blow them off with the two blowers. We usually use his 800 and my 700, or we'll use like my Echo 8010. It's just, it makes things a lot easier for us and faster. So if you don't have bagging capabilities and you need to move a lot of leaves, this is another route you can go. This is a Little Wonder. It's only the C6, but it does blow out a lot of power. You can get 8 horse, 9 horse, I believe. You know, you can get billy goats that go all the way up to 18 horse. They even make these nowadays that they are self-propelled, which makes it a lot better and a lot easier. Makes it really nice, but it's definitely another way to go. And I haven't used this in probably 2 years, but it is still with me. I won't sell it. It's a great piece of equipment to use for moving a lot of leaves. I do have the plans to upgrade that. When it comes to blowers, you will hear so much bullshit across the internet and across YouTube, ridiculous. You have to have this, you have to have that. Personally, I have a BR600, I have a BR700, and I have an Echo 8010. The Echo 8010 is by far the most powerful blower I've ever used. I've also used Ryan's BR800s, but you can move leaves with smaller blowers. It's going to take more work, it's going to be harder, but don't listen to all that crap where people tell you can't do it. You can, but I highly suggest you buy the biggest blower that you can afford. Here we are using that leaf vac, and like I said, the thing worked really good, but the conditions had to be right. It had to be dry leaves. When you got the wet leaves, or like this here was all stuff that we had bagged in the yard and dumped at the edge of the road, and then came back with the leaf vac to vac them up. And when they start getting thick, or you get any amount of rain on it, snow on it like we do in our area, it just, you know, it slows this blower down. It clogs it up. It's like a paste. It makes it a mess. So it's definitely an option. It's a way to go, but preferably, I just prefer to not use it. Same thing with Ryan. He got sick of it too, and we found other ways to go. And excuse me, just a little clip here of us screwing around like we do. But any of you guys that have followed us for a period of time, you know that that's how we do it. It's definitely a way to go. And if you got a lot of dry leaves that you're dealing with and stuff, it may be an option for you. If you got a lot of place where you have to haul away, again, it may be a good option for you. But for the time that it costs us having to have a separate truck and trailer from what we pull the mowers around with and going back to properties, and as much as it clogged up with sticks and everything else, it just became a huge pain in the butt. So here I'm using the 8010, and it's definitely become my go-to blower. But like I said, there's so many other blowers you can use, and they will work just fine. It just may take you a little bit longer. So use what you can. You know, we've all used the smaller blowers. Ryan upgraded that Skag this year from the 3-bag system that was on it when I sold it to him to the clamshell, which definitely proved to be faster and easier. Not only easier for doing the cleanups, but easier on your body. You're not getting on enough the mower so much to dump the bags out. So that was definitely a great option. Another little clip of using this Ferris blower. And like I said before, there's a full review video, my thoughts on it, you know, a ton of footage of me using it if you're interested in that. But if you can afford it and you have a lot of them, it's definitely a way to go. It made our life a lot easier this year. What I want to cover real quick before this ends, a lot of people ask, how do I charge? Real quick, that's just the Wright with the X-Blade system on it. I highly recommend you run the X-Blade system, but get the actual brackets. Don't just put 2 blades in there and run a bolt up through. I've done it in the past. It does work, but you're better off to just spend the 40 bucks or whatever it is and buy the brackets. It makes a world of difference. But people are going to ask as far as charging for leaf cleanups. I can't tell you what to charge. I'm not going to tell you what I even charge, but I always offered it one of 2 ways for my regular weekly customers. Say it's a $40 a week lawn. For the last 4 to 5 weeks of the season, I charge them double cut, so it's $80 a week, and I just vac up or mulch up everything in the yard. And on the final cut, once the leaves are completely down, I do a final blowout of all their flower beds and around the house, and then I mulch up or bag those up. I offer it that way or a one-time fee. The other way is easier on me, and it's easier on smaller businesses because you can stay up on them from week to week and you're not overloading yourself at any one time. I hope this helps everybody, and I hope you guys can get everything out of this that you hope to get out of it. I hope it answers questions for you guys. And it's just an all-around general things that I've done in the past, things that I have used, pieces of equipment, and what you can and can't use. Just a bunch of different ideas all wrapped up in one video. There's so many ways to do it, and there's so much on YouTube especially and all over to tell you have to do it this way, you can do it this way, this is the best way, so on and so forth. What's going to determine the best way is what you have to do it, what you have as far as equipment goes, what you have as far as employees go, or if you're doing it by yourself, what you have as far as your customers, on whether you have places where you can dump on site or whether you have to haul away. If you do have to haul away, do you have fees for where you get to dump? Or is it like Ryan and I, we have multiple places we can dump for free as much as we want. We don't get charged for it. So that makes a huge difference in our cost to the customer and how easy it is for us. And also the dump site in relative location to where we're doing these cleanups on the ones we do have to haul away. So there's so much to take in and there's so much to consider, but this video was just designed to give you guys basic ideas. A lot of people that ask me different ways to do it, and just different options of equipment to use, what you can use and what's the best way to use that specific piece of equipment. So all in all, I hope this answers any questions that any of you guys may have, and go out there and just knock it out. Do what you got to do, or do what you can do with the equipment that you have.